You're doing it wrong. Let me show you something. Here's a clip that was shot by a director of photography friend of mine on a project that we collaborated on a while back. He shot the clip on the Canon C200. He, like many people, believes that exposing to the right is a good idea. Obviously, that was a mistake that cost him the shot. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to expose the Canon C200 in a way that allows you to avoid grain and noise in dark areas. At the end of the video, I'm going to share with you the #1 thing you can do if you're shooting on a Canon cinema camera to protect yourself from having to deal with noise and grain in post-production. Let me know what you think looks better. Shot 1 with the exposed to the right methodology, or shot 2, which avoids the exposed to the right methodology. To me, shot 2 is significantly better. And what's worse, shot 1 looks like video because of the horrible clipping in the highlights. Thank you for checking out my channel. We're building a community of filmmakers, content creators, image makers at all different levels where we can have a place to share content, knowledge, information, assets, so that we can all level up together. If you're into that type of thing, be sure to subscribe. So why would so many people have you believe that exposing to the right is a good idea? We're going to have to blame our photographer friends and counterparts for that one. You see, in photography, it absolutely makes sense to always try to use the lowest possible ISO in the camera so that you could keep your dark areas nice and clean. That also means that the digital image sensor is the least sensitive to light. And that lack of sensitivity makes the whole image darker. And getting a good exposure on your talent or subject really means you need to bring in more light. You could add more light by stopping down your lens to the lowest possible aperture, which opens up that iris, or physically bringing in artificial light. And in photography, in that scenario, exposing to the right makes a lot of sense. But here's the part that for whatever reason gets completely forgotten by the digital cinema camera exposed to the right crowd. Photographers take care not to blow out the highlights. In other words, they protect the highlights. And when photographers are looking at their composition, not only do they not blow out the highlights, but they also take care of the shadows or the gradients or dark areas of their frame so that their entire composition can maximize the dynamic range of their image. Why doesn't that methodology work with digital cinema cameras? It's because of that thing called the native ISO. The native ISO allows the camera to maximize the dynamic range of that image sensor. When we choose to shift away from that native ISO, whether it be up or down, we're actually reducing the dynamic range of the sensor. On Canon cinema cameras, if you want cleaner shadows, you should shoot at lower ISOs. And if there's information in those dark areas of your frame that need to be part of that storytelling, then you need to bring in light. What the whole exposed to the right group of people need to realize is that you're sacrificing and giving up information into your highlights. And the whole highlight roll-off, that's real, right? That is what differentiates a cinema camera from a video camera. So going back to that clip, had he chosen to protect the highlights, the Canon C200 would have performed a lot better in that shot. The answer to what is the correct way to expose the Canon C200 so that you don't have noise and grain in your image or in your shadows is one that can't really be answered with a hard, fast fact that fits every scenario. Because the answer really is, it depends on what your shot is and what you're trying to tell in your story. Until next time, I'm Carlos. Stay well, stay safe, and take care. The one thing you could do to set yourself up for success and avoid as much possible noise in your image is to always remember to do auto black balance.